Happy Thursday, Frank Rock, House of Orange TV. I'm going to do a little mashup tonight. I'm going to talk some football. I want to talk some baseball too. I want to mix in a little bit of both because there's been obviously portal season with football. It's hot and heavy. There's lots. There's not anything concrete. There's lots going on with Tennessee. And then the first preseason rankings. There's a ton of baseball publications that put out their rankings. Perfect Game put theirs out today, and man, the bar is high out of the gate, and we'll talk that in a minute as well. Like, share, subscribe. That's your thing to do there. Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate you tuning in here. Let's talk portal first. Hot topic, Sam Leavitt. Big thing come out this morning. Austin Price, VolQuest.com comes out and says that it has come out. Sam Leavitt, he was supposed to leave today. He has extended his stay into tomorrow. And now, does that mean he's in the fold yet? No, it doesn't. But it's got to be viewed as a good sign. And, some things to look at. If you're Tennessee, I think you got to lock this one down before he gets out of town, because Miami and Oregon, there's still the rumors with them. They're still looming. And, if he gets off campus uncommitted, there's no guarantee that they'll be able to get him in the fold. But Pete Nakos of On3 put out an update later on as well, and he says that the meetings, he said sources have told On3 that meetings will be ongoing on Thursday, ranging from offensive meetings to discussions about his financial package. At this point, if you're Tennessee, based on how things have gone, you've only targeted, that we know of, you've only had one quarterback visitor. To me, it's the top guy in the portal. Some will go say sources. There's people don't like Leavitt. I don't get it. I know the injury is a concern, and I've seen it where he may miss spring practice. But, man, if Leavitt can play, man, I think he's tailor-made for this offense. He can throw it. If you look at everything coming in last year, it talked about his accuracy, how he doesn't turn the ball over. Now, does he have Joey Aguilar's arm? I don't know that he does, but it still says he throws an above-average long ball. So that's good. And his ability, at Arizona State 2 years ago, he went for over 700 yards rushing. How will that be impacted with foot injury? I guess that remains to be seen. I'm sure Tennessee's doing their due diligence on this if they haven't already. You've got to do what you can if you're Josh Heupel and company, when you're getting these 2 days to try to lock this one down before he gets off campus. It will be a shot in the arm. It'll be huge. I'm still going on that limb. I'm calling it. Leavitt's going to be a Vol. I just think it is, and I think this offense will absolutely roll with him in the fold too if it happens. But looking at it as well, there's a lot out there as far as, Tennessee was in on the running back from, Louisiana, Perry? And so apparently he does not have the credits. Zylan Perry does not have the credits to get into school. I didn't even know that was still a thing or not. So, but anyhow, Tennessee shifted its focus now. They've got Kendrick Raphael from Cal, who had last year, it says, 943 yards on 232 carries and 13 touchdowns. He had the most carries in the ACC last year. Said he also had 245 yards in receptions as well. That sounds to me like a pretty good running back right there. Said he did begin his career at NC State in 2023, and then he transferred out to Cal. The other one who it looks like they may be having for a visit is Bryson Washington from Baylor. Looks like last year he had 788 yards, 6 touchdowns in 2025. I'm telling you guys, to me, it looks like either of these guys would be really good pickups. And it's already come out. Deshaun Bishop has signed a new deal. He's back in place for next year. So, that one's pretty good to see as well. I did see today, let me look at the visitor board. Looks like Tennessee may be bringing in a receiver. Gavin Freeman said played for Oklahoma State this past year. He's 5'8", 185. I wonder, he is a return specialist. Says he did have 481 yards on 53 receptions and 4 touchdowns. So I wonder if it says he carried the ball 12 times for 48 yards as well. I wonder if he's been brought in as more of a guy he can return kicks, and, you fit in some packages for him as well. I think that could be pretty interesting. That's all I've seen as far as receivers. listed. Tennessee's in on a lot of defenders still. Friday visits Amari Campbell from Penn State, linebacker. I would think you got to feel pretty good about that one. And then former Penn State safety DeJuan Lane as well. 6'2", 205, said he was a 4-star out of Baltimore. Based on their familiarity with the defense, based on their familiarity with Knowles, with Poindexter, I got to think there's a good chance. And this is, me just my thoughts on it. They could go somewhere else for all I know, but my thoughts is you get them in, I think you'll have a good chance to lock them up. And supposedly anytime they're in good shape with Xavier Gillum, defensive tackle out of Penn State, which would be a big pickup for them as well. And then you've got, looks like there's an edge from Tulane, Jordan Norman, scheduled to come in. You've got an Alabama duo possibly coming in Sunday if they make it. I think they're at Ohio State now based on what I've read. Is it Russo and James Smith? Quay Russo, James Smith. If I mispronounced the last name, I apologize on that. But that would be some big guys. Tennessee, people are closing the door that Tennessee's failed this portal window. You hit on Sam Leavitt, you start hitting on these defenders, it changes the game in a heartbeat. They're nowhere close to done. And this portal does not close until the 16th. Who knows who else goes in at this point as well, and who else shows up for a visit. Who knows where Tennessee goes on that. First and foremost, though, I think you got to close Sam Leavitt out. You close that one out, I think you can take that big sigh of relief at that point, and then you could start building this defense, because I feel there's a few guys coming in that there's really good shots that they're going to get. 3 Penn State guys, Gillum, Campbell, and Lane. I feel like there's really good shots to get that. Now you got to start coming in with some of these other guys. I also saw as well where Austin Price, VolQuest.com, put out, there's nothing guaranteed on this one, but Damon Wilson, who was Missouri defensive end this year, said Tennessee, it seems like they may be trying there. So there's nothing that they'll get him on campus yet. And then Chaz Coleman is still out there, and it was put out today earlier by Austin Price, VolQuest.com, that wouldn't be surprised to see Tennessee go visit Chaz Coleman this weekend. So they're not done. They're not done. There is a lot of time left, and I'm still pretty confident. Has it been a little shaky start? Maybe, because we've seen some targets not even make it to campus. It's not how you start. It's how you finish, and they've got a shot to still end up with a really, really good portal class when it's all said and done. My advice on it, you react how you want to. I'm going to be patient with it right now. And I think good things are still coming. They're in on good players. There's still plenty of good players that are out there. Let's shift to baseball. My favorite on first preseason rankings come out. The first preseason All-American team come out yesterday from Perfect Game. Start with the rankings, man. We're coming out guns a-blazing. Tennessee in the Perfect Game top 25, preseason top 25 are ranked 3rd. LSU 1, Georgia Tech 2, Tennessee 3, Alabama 4, UCLA 5. We can go on. Lots of SEC, of course. It's predominantly SEC, ACC. There are, what do you got? You got a few Big Ten. I don't know. It's kind of spread after that, but it's predominantly SEC and some ACC in there as well. Preseason number 3, I've said it when I've talked about this team. I said I think this team is absolutely loaded this year, and Omaha's the goal. It is very realistic this team could go win a national championship this year. It really is. And Perfect Game put out their first, their All-American teams. Henry Ford's listed first team. Brady Frederick transfer. Of course, Henry Ford transferred from Virginia. Brady Frederick, transfer pitcher from ETSU. He's listed 3rd team All-American on there as well. I would venture to sit here and tell you when it's all said and done, Tennessee's going to have more than 2 All-Americans this year. The offense is loaded, and this pitching staff, I think people are sleeping on it because it's not necessarily proven in SEC play. But I'm telling you right now, if I compare going into this season versus last season, and we saw they made it happen. They got to the Super Regionals last year, and they butchered the crap out of that pitching staff. I don't care what anybody says on it. Liam Doyle, sure, he was your lights out Friday guy. Marcus Phillips did a good job, but after that, man, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to mince words about it. They mismanaged the pitching staff. I seen something today talking about, and this one I'm still ill over this one, and it's going into 4 years later, how the 2022 team, their metrics were far and above any other team that year, and yet they managed to lose. It's because the pitching was totally mismanaged in that year as well. It was almost mismanaged in 2024, and they were able to overcome it. I'm really curious to see how Josh Elander, Josh Reynolds, and staff manage this pitching staff. If they're as quirky as what Tony Vitello and Frank Anderson were, and that's the best way I can put that on it. But I'll look this offense. I've talked it. I'll link a baseball playlist at the end on it. But all around, I've counted 14 to 15 guys who could be in the starting lineup, and maybe more, including some of these freshmen. There are some stud freshmen on this team. There's a lot of returners, guys, second, third-year dudes coming in, and then this pitching. Again, do you have that proven guy who's done it day in, day out in the SEC and stuff? Not yet. But I can tell you right now, if you look at rankings, you look at MLB drafts, you look at prospects where they come in, you've got a really, really good potential weekend rotation. And I think based on what they've added through the transfer portal, they've added a mix of pitchers as well. But I looked at weekend rotation. To me, it's going to be 3 or 4 guys. Coons, Mack, Arvidsson, Blanco. It's going to be 3 of the 4. And part of me leans right now towards, in no particular order, Coons, Mack, Blanco on it, just based on what I've read. But, I don't know how they'll use Arvidsson. I would like to see Arvidsson in the rotation. That's just me on it. I'm curious to see how Blanco translate to the SEC, but he was really good in fall ball, and he's going against one of the best lineups in the country. So, you got to take that serious along the way as well. Coons was dominant in the Cape Cod. He showed signs last year until they started basically babying him. And Landon Mack comes in, highly coveted. Tennessee, LSU both wanted him a lot. He brings good stuff as well. I think this is going to be a really good weekend rotation. And really the last 3 years you go back to 2023, and they still made Omaha, but all of a sudden, Andrew Lindsay was the Friday night guy, Dolander Saturday, Beam Sunday, Chase Burns went to the bullpen, which cost you Chase Burns. And Burns had not been good up to that point. Don't get me wrong on it. But still yet. Come on, man. 2024, all of a sudden, we're going to Chris Stamos, AJ Causey Friday with the opener stuff. It almost bit them in the end. You had Beam, and then Xander Sechrist was just a stud at the end. As clutch as I've seen. Especially at Tennessee, and in the situations that he was put in at the end to lock up, the SEC championship, the regionals, the super regionals, the College World Series. It doesn't get any more clutch than what Xander Sechrist did that year. So I think Tennessee has the pitchers too, and you factor in a guy like a Cam Appenzeller, true freshman, who do they start him midweek in the bullpen, or excuse me, midweek start? You got Nick Abraham, a guy who pitched a little bit last year, pitched really well in the California League. I think this team's stacked. I think they're stacked this year. I really think LSU is going to be tough. Georgia Tech had a really good portal window. UCLA is pretty stacked as well. Alabama has some stuff. Tennessee starts February 13th with Nicholls State. Then they play UNC Asheville midweek. It's a couple weeks, and then they go to Arlington for that tournament, or the class. I can't remember what it's called now. But then you start with UCLA on that one. I think it's Arizona State and Virginia Tech. That's a strong weekend. I love it. Love playing those games. I'm curious to see how they look when they play UCLA, especially with whoever your Friday night guy is going against that UCLA team, which should be pretty good. Lots of fun coming up with Tennessee baseball this year. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the Elander era, and I think good things are still going to happen. I don't expect this program to miss a beat. And I've said it before. If you saw the reaction when he was introduced in that locker room as a head coach, these guys are going to go to bat for him. Those guys will run through a brick wall for Josh Elander. And I can tell you on that day, I was ready to run through one too. You guys have a great rest of your evening. As soon as we get any Sam Leavitt news, I'm going to try to be on it as soon as possible after that. But this is Frank. This is the House of Orange Have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you when I see you.